Symbolism of the Tarot, Part 5. Card 4. The Emperor. And after I had studied the first 3 numbers, it was given to me to understand the great law of 4, the Alpha and Omega of all. I saw the Emperor on a high throne of stone that was decorated with 4 rams' heads. A golden helmet gleamed upon his brow. His white beard fell over his purple mantle. In one hand he held a sphere, the symbol of his possessions, and in the other a scepter in the form of the Egyptian cross, the sign of his power over birth. I am the great law, said the Emperor. I am the name of God. The 4 letters of his name are in me, and I am in everything. I am the 4 principles, I am the 4 elements. I am in the 4 seasons. I am in the 4 quarters of the earth. I am in the 4 signs of the tarot. I am action, I am resistance, I am completion, I am result. For him who knows the way to see me, there are no mysteries upon the earth. As the earth contains fire, water, and air, as the 4th letter of the name contains the first 3, and itself becomes the first, so my scepter contains the complete triangle, and bears within itself the seed of a new triangle, a holy trinity. And while the Emperor spoke, his helmet and golden armor visible beneath his mantle shone, ever more and more fiercely, until I could no longer bear their radiance and dropped my eyes. And when I tried to raise them again, before me was an all-pervading radiance and light and fire. And I fell prostrate, worshipping the fiery word. Card 19. The Sun. After this, when I first saw the sun, I understood that it is itself the expression of the fiery word, and the sign of the Emperor. The great luminary shone and gave warmth. Below, tall golden sunflowers nodded their heads. And I saw 2 children in a garden, behind a high enclosure. The sun poured its hot rays on them, and it seemed to me that a golden rain was falling upon them, as though the sun poured molten gold over the earth. For an instant I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again I saw that every ray of the sun was the scepter of the Emperor, which bore within it life. And I saw how beneath the sharp points of these rays, the mystical flowers of the waters were unfolding everywhere, and how the rays penetrated into these flowers. How the whole of nature was continually born, from the mysterious union of the 2 principles. Card 5. The Hierophant. I saw the great master of the temple. He was seated on a golden throne, set upon a purple dais. He wore the robes of a high priest and a golden tiara. Under his feet I saw 2 crossed keys, and 2 initiates were bowed before him as he spoke to them. I heard the sound of his voice, but could not understand one word that he said. Either he spoke in a language unknown to me, or there was something that prevented me from understanding the meaning of his words. And the voice said to me, "He speaks only for those who have ears to hear. But woe unto them who believe that they hear before they have really heard, or hear that which he does not say, or put their own words in place of his words. They will never receive the keys of understanding. And it is of them that is was said, that they neither go in themselves, neither suffer them that are entering to go in." Card 18. The Moon. A desolate plain stretched out before me. The full moon looked down as if wrapped in meditation. Under her wavering light, the shadows lived their own peculiar lives. There were black hills on the horizon. Between 2 grey towers wound a path, losing itself somewhere in the distance. On either side of the path, facing one another, a wolf and a dog were sitting and howling, their muzzles raised up to the moon. From a stream a great black crayfish clambered onto the sand. A cold heavy dew was falling. A feeling of dread came over me as I felt the presence of a mysterious world, a world of hostile spirits, of corpses rising from the grave, of tormented ghosts. In the pale light of the moon, I seemed to feel the presence of phantoms. Shadows appeared to be crossing the path. Someone was waiting for me behind the towers, and it was dangerous to look back. Card 6. Temptation. I saw a flowering garden in a green valley, surrounded by soft blue hills. In the garden I saw a man and a woman. Elves, water nymphs, sylphs and gnomes came to them freely. 3 kingdoms of nature, stones, plants, and animals served them. To them was revealed the mystery of universal equilibrium, and they themselves were the expression of that equilibrium. Two triangles were united in them, into a six-pointed star, the two bow-shaped magnets merged into one ellipse. High above them I saw floating the spirit, who unseen guided them, and whose presence they always felt. And I noticed how from a tree on which the golden fruit was ripening, a snake crept down and whispered in the ear of the woman, and the woman listened, smiled at first incredulously, then with curiosity. Then I saw her speak to the man, and he also smiled, pointing with his hand to the garden all around him. Suddenly a cloud appeared, and hid the picture from me. "This is the picture of temptation," said the voice. "But what constitutes the temptation? Can you understand its nature?" "Life is so good," I said, "and the world is so beautiful, the three kingdoms of nature and the four elements so obedient, that they wished to believe themselves the lords and masters of the world, and they could not withstand this temptation." "Yes," said the voice. "The wisdom that crawls upon the ground said to them, that they knew themselves what was good and what was evil. And they believed this, because it was pleasant to think so. And then they ceased to hear the guiding voice. Equilibrium was destroyed. The enchanted world was closed to them. Everything appeared as in a false light. This fall is the first sin of man, and is perpetually repeated because man never ceases to believe in himself, and lives by this belief. Only when man has atoned this sin, by great suffering can he pass out of the power of death, and return to life. Card 17. The Star. In the midst of the heavens shone a great star, and around it were 7 smaller stars. Their rays were intertwined, filling space with an endless radiance and light. And each of the 8 stars contained in itself all the other 8 stars. And beneath the shining stars, beside a blue stream, I saw a naked girl, young and beautiful. Kneeling down on one knee, she poured water from 2 vessels, one of gold and one of silver. A small bird on a bush raised its wings and prepared for flight. For an instant I understood that I was seeing the soul of nature. "This is the imagination of nature," said the voice softly. "Nature dreams, imagines, then creates worlds. Learn to unite your imagination with her imagination, and nothing will be impossible for you. But remember that it is impossible to see both rightly and wrongly at the same time. Once and for all you must make a choice, and then there can be no return." Card 7. The Chariot. I saw a chariot drawn by 2 sphinxes, a white and a black one. The pillars supported a sky-blue canopy, spangled with 5 pointed stars. Beneath the canopy, driving the sphinxes, stood the conqueror in armor of steel, and in his hand was a scepter, surmounted with a sphere, a triangle and a square. A golden pentagram shone upon his crown. On the front of the chariot, above the sphinxes, was fastened a 2-winged sphere and the mystic lingam and yoni, the symbol of union. Everything in this picture has a meaning. "Look and try to understand," said the voice to me. "This is the conqueror who has not yet conquered himself. Here are both will and knowledge. But in all of this there is more the desire to attain than real attainment." The man in the chariot began to consider himself conqueror before he actually conquered. He decided that conquest must come to a conqueror. In this there are many real possibilities, but also many deceiving lights, and great dangers await the man in the chariot. He drives the chariot by the strength of his will, and of the magic sword, but the tension of his will may weaken and the sphinxes may pull in different directions, tearing both him and his chariot in 2. This is the conqueror, against whom the conquered may still rise. Do you see behind him the towers of the conquered city? Perhaps the flame of revolt burns there already? And he does not know that within himself lies a conquered city, that within himself, the sphinxes are watching his every movement, that within himself, great dangers await him. And realize too that this is the same man that you saw, connecting heaven and earth, and the same man that you saw dragging himself along a dusty road towards the precipice, where the beast awaited him.